would, but I'm just wondering, like...
Is that this question that you had for me? You started this up by... The viewers will, watching this on YouTube replay, go back. He started this conversation by asking me, he's got a question for me. What's the question?
Well, okay, let's say the editor came to town.
Yeah.
And he's staying at the Beverly Hills Hilton.
Yeah, on the 4th floor.
And he says, look, just meet me for drinks. I just want to meet you. Then, you can write for the Atlantic. And I say, okay, fine. And then he says, could you just, come up to my room? I've got the book there that I want you to review. So I'll come up to the room, and he says, could you just, stand there? And then he goes off to the other corner of the room, and he, drops his trousers and starts diddling himself. But he doesn't touch me. All he wants me to do is stand there and say to him, you can do anything to me.
Why would you bring this up in the middle of this?
It was on my mind. Would I be...
This is on your mind?
Would I be tarnishing...
You're a freak.
Would I be tarnishing my soul if I just, let another guy look at me while he was doing that? He doesn't touch me. I'm not doing anything wrong. All I'm doing is saying, you can do anything to me.
Right.
But he's not touching me. He's on the other side of the room. And, maybe I slip into, some clothing that he wants me to wear. But he doesn't touch me.
There is no heter. First of all, there's no heter. Let's get to the... There's no heter at all to wear women's clothing except on Purim.
Okay.
Okay? If, there's some movie part, or there's some TV part, or there's some magazine photo shoot, and they want you to wear women's clothes,
right.
I'm going to say you can't do it, but ask your local Rav for a heter.
But what if you want to get published in the Atlantic?
You're going to have to ask a Major League Rav for a heter, okay?
My editor at the Atlantic wants me to dress up in women's clothing, then he'll give me a book review on faith in America. Can I do it?
I'm going to say... And
when he comes to town, he wants to...
I'm going to say he says no. I'm going to say he says no and denies the heter. But I'm not a Major League Rav. I'm single A. So you ask him and go with that. But I'm going to guess he says no. Okay, I'm going to say he says no. Now, on your other one, can you stand there while the other guy jerks off?
Yeah.
I think that's another shaila. And here's my theory on this, right?
Yeah.
Because what's the worst scenario? The worst scenario is man-on-man butt sex, which is an Isser Deraisa, which is an abomination, punishable, the worst thing. Maybe there's a gezerah here, right? You shouldn't initiate.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do something that's so provoking.
Because I feel like he's trying to break me down, turn me into his bitch.
Yeah, you're yeah, exactly.
And I'm just going along with it because I might, advance my career.
Right, and
I didn't have any morals.
If that doesn't have, if you have an Isser Deraisa that is a death penalty thing, like breaking Shabbos, you know how many walls we put up so that you don't, muksa, which, you know what I'm saying? It's you put up all these walls so that you shouldn't come to do an Isser Deraisa with a death penalty, right? So if the male homo act is a death penalty in Isser Deraisa, it's the same level of breaking Shabbos. So I would think at the very least, if you're hey baby, I would think that's a problem. That sounds to me about as bad as you can get. But again, I'm not a Major League Rav. And
a lot of older men try to take advantage of my naivete.
Wankel has an opinion.
What do older men see in me? They see someone who's vulnerable that they can take advantage of, someone they can manipulate.
Okay, I want to talk about last week. They're saying, this chat room desperately needs a woman. Well, folks, my woman was in this chat room.
And how did you treat her, you filth?
You guys
slime.
Okay, you were so horrible.
So disrespectful.
Disrespectful to the woman who was in there, and then you ask, why isn't there any women?
Yeah, and then you ask, where are the women?
Don't blame Luke for that.
Don't blame me for that. I keep things on a very high level so that all women can come in here, feel perfectly comfortable. Because I'm not going to say anything that could upset them.
Right, and by the way, we do have a woman in there. Faith is a woman.
All woman. She is 100% woman.
Right, okay. And I don't know who Aquarella is. Aquarella...
Sounds kind of womanly.
Yeah, Ella is like a feminine thing. You know?
Yeah, that's
if they're a guy, you never know. They could be wearing women's underwear or something, and like going up to a room, going, "Hey, fella."
You can do anything to me.
So there's that. No, Rav, you were not respectful. You said to the woman I'm involved with. Aquarella's a woman.
Yeah, I can tell she's all woman too. She's 100% woman. She doesn't have a penis. That's one of the things that I like about a real woman. No penis.
Okay, I want to know who Aquarella is. If you can't, tell us at least privately who you are. If you don't want to announce yourself, because we gotta not know who.
Maybe he was my dental hygienist.
Could be. And I'm thinking Wankel 613. That's a male.
Gee.
Who's Faith? Faith is Whitetown, Ohio Catholic. Okay, so we do bring in the women.
Yeah, we bring in the women,
be nice
but
to
then
them.
Don't drive them out with your filthy sex stories, guys.
And things like you can't do with the women in there is you can't start saying I'm going to give them babies and stuff like that.
No, I'm going to give your father grandchildren.
That's in essence, isn't that the same thing? And you certainly don't do that. With
the rabbi's girlfriend.
That's just completely disrespectful. Hey, where's Talmud 123 tonight? Where is Talmud 123 tonight? Huh? Where is he?
Okay, on with the Torah. Enough sex talk.
Okay. Back to that. Okay.
Rabbi Wein writes, Jewish civil law is based on the idea there must always be a balance between the welfare of society and the property rights of the individual. So one of the powerful effects of leading an observant Jewish life is you have to constantly ask yourself, what effect will what I'm doing have on the community? If you grow up in a tradition, you're going to learn how to live in community, and that's powerful. Because countless people I know, secular people I know, they don't know what it's like to live in community. They cannot stand to have their freedom constricted by community. They've never tasted the deep joys of such belonging. The more bonds you have to other people, the less freedom you have. True. So people married with kids and mortgages have the least freedom, but they're often the happiest people I know. You ever notice how polite people in professions tend to be? Like I had an email from a doctor and from a dentist, and they're always like really polite. They don't say, "Hey, Dick Wad," or "Hey, Jack." You don't hear that from doctors.
No, you don't usually.
So I've almost never had a bad, experience interaction with a rabbi or a doctor or a lawyer, accountant or therapist, just totally being gross or disgusting. Because these professions have codes of conduct, and they can face severe punishment for violating these codes. Therefore, they tend to behave more ethically than bloggers like me who just do what we want. So I guess Orthodox Jews, in a sense, are a profession. They're in God's army. They have a code of conduct, and there are sanctions for misbehavior. And I know because I've misbehaved many times, and I have paid some of those sanctions.
So in other words, idealism is okay, but idealism without practical application cannot be sustained.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Muslims have a code of behavior as well. It's called Sharia. That's Muslim law.
Right.
I wonder if Jews and Americans would be better off if we also consulted Sharia.
But that's not what. That's got nothing to do with us.
Okay.
Here's another thing too.
Yeah.
Because we talked about how the government infringing on a religious freedom goes against the Constitution.
Yeah.
Right? Goes against the Bill of Rights, First Amendment. Well, what about the infringement on the Muslims with their Sharia law business?
Right.
Here's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the difference. The problem with Sharia law is that it violates other people's human rights. Right? Like the honor killings. Right?
Yeah.
The United States Constitution, the government, is supposed to protect this innocent woman from being murdered.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's actually up to each individual state. Right? Murder is a state crime.
Yeah.
It's not a federal offense. Right? But the protection has got to be there, and no religion should be allowed to override that. We have laws in the Torah that say, we're supposed to kill somebody who breaks Shabbos. But we don't do that because mina de malchus adina. Right? We don't do that.
Right.
We know what that means from the law of the land.
It's the law, yeah.
Right. When something interior